and broadcasting and podcasting 438 miles between Lubbock and College Station on this International Podcast Day, the final day of September. It's the fifth quarter podcast. George Goff, yours truly, Desmond McLaughlin on my left. Glad to have you with us as we break down week 4 and look back on what it was a fantastic week of college football with the SEC back. We're going to get right into it, but Desmond, first, on this Wednesday, September the 30th, how are you doing?
Pretty good, George. Interesting stuff happened this weekend. Spooky season's coming up, but, I can't complain. NBA Finals starting soon. You know me, huge basketball fan, so I'll have to watch out for that.
Yeah, it should be a good one with the Lakers and the Heat, and we'll get into that shortly. But first, let's talk about the thing on everybody's mind, Alan Bowman, Sam Ehlinger, and a battle of the quarterbacks that went to overtime and was won ultimately in a 15-point comeback by the Longhorns. Desmond, I'm going to let you take it away. Texas Tech, Texas from Lubbock. What happened and why?
Before we get into that, I just want to point out just one stat for you, George. As I told you I would every single week. Number 1, Big 12, passing yards leader. Number 5 in the nation, Alan Bowman.
I mean, you did say it. I'm not going to deny it.
He actually outplayed Sam Ehlinger. His stats, I think he only had 1 interception and 5 touchdowns, but he actually outplayed him against a strong Texas team.
Yeah, I was going to say that if we're talking battle of quarterbacks, Sam Ehlinger was quiet only until really the fourth quarter when he had to lead that comeback and then even into overtime.
And let's be honest, props to Texas for coming back, but a lot of which I'm about to get into, a lot of that was just mistakes. It wasn't even Texas. They kind of handed it in their the play was handed into them.
It was unenforced errors. It was self-inflicted wounds that the Texas Tech Red Raiders were running into. I mean, at one point, weren't they?
For instance, I have a run right here.
Oh, go for it.
3 minutes, 13 seconds left, 15-point lead. The game's almost over. I'm not gonna lie. I started texting. I was out and I was watching ESPN watching the play-by-play, and I was texting people from Texas and Texas Tech. Texas is back? ?
Oh, okay.
About memes and everything. 15-point lead's looking good. They decided to go with that sky kick.
Yeah.
For no reason. That gives them an extra 20 yards. Of course, Sam Ehlinger goes down, scores. Within a minute. 2 minutes, 39 seconds left, 8-point lead. Of course, they're going to go for an onside kick. They get that back.
Beautiful bounce. I have to say, beautiful bounce on that.
That was incredible bounce. Great play. 2 mistakes already. So now it's just a 2-point conversion. All right, just get this off. We win the game. 40 seconds left. Dude, I don't know if you saw the play. I watched it before this. That was the slowest slant route I have ever seen. It wasn't even a slant route, and they had trips on the right side. So of course so the dude starts off with the move going outside, and he does slant route inside. Why would you guard the outside? They have trips right. He's not going to go throw backside to across when he has trips on the right side. And it was such a slow move.
Well, Desmond, I want to cut you off right there for a second. I saw a tweet that said that was actually the same, if you can remember, about 2 years ago when West Virginia and Texas played. Will Grier and the Mountaineers won on a 2-point conversion in Austin. That 2-point conversion play that the Mountaineers ran was almost identical to the one that the Longhorns ran.
And it's low-key a smart move. You put trips to the right, forcing all the other defenders on the other side.
Right,
and then you expose the weak. Yeah.
Yeah.
But just watching it, it was the slowest move. It wasn't even like a quick cut. It was just a slow little juke move. And the man was stumbling. I mean, obviously it was good because it did what it had to do, but it was such a slow move.
Okay, so we go to overtime.
Overtime, we win the toss. And they elect to play defense.
That's fine.
How is that fine? This is the Big 12. Why would you want to play defense first?
So you can know what you have to get. So you know you have to either get a field goal or a touchdown.
After they struggled 3 possessions in a row to get a stop, you want to elect to play defense first?
Okay, fine. Okay, so then
With Alan Bowman hot, I'd always go offense first, put the pressure on them. Instead, they let a team that just came back with momentum get the ball back again after they scored 3 possessions in a row.
you have a point there. So then they score.
And so then the play they called, if you watch it, the announcers called the exact play that they're going to run about a full 30 seconds before they ran it. They said they're going to expose the weak coverage on the right side. It's going to do a slant inside. That'd be a good opportunity. What happens? That exactly happens. The same thing. Slant inside again, touchdown. All right, so then we have a chance to come back, 3rd and 14. And you remember last year when I told you about Coach Wells and how he did terrible play calls on third and long. He runs a wheel route on 3rd and 14.
Why?
And of course he fumbles it, which his mistake too. But even if he had caught it, it would still have been 4th and 12, 4th and 11, maybe.
Right, and then wasn't on 4th down. He had to toss it up, intercepted, game over.
Yeah, but a wheel route on 3rd and 14.
That's the Matt Schaub, like Gary Kubiak type 2010 stunt where like on 3rd and 8, it'd be a little check down to the running back, and it's like 4th and 7.
I don't know. I don't know if I would rather them get blown out than losing a game like that where you have the 15-point lead with 3 minutes left.
Well, it's just like the Baylor game last year, when same kind of rant you're having here with the fumble that was an illegal snap or whatever.
Oh, which it was.
But you're gonna keep saying that, which when you keep going back and looking at it, it probably was.
I'm over that. This one trumps that one, all right? Because that game, like, that was one play. This was like 4 that could have easily changed.
Indeed, and I think you make a good point that it's there's a lot of things that went wrong down the stretch.
What's interesting most is like they've been waiting. That university's been waiting so long to get a good football program. I mean, we did have Patrick Mahomes, but the team really didn't do much.
No,
we haven't had much. We're a basketball school. Everyone makes fun of us because we have good sports besides football. Texas is one of the most obnoxious schools out there. We all know that. 15-point lead, George.
No, like you hit it right there on the head. You don't think it's obnoxious when you're 90 miles, an hour and a half down the road between two schools, College Station and Texas in Austin. Like, come on. But no, a few stats that I kind of want to hit at, Desmond, and get your take. Obviously, that 15-point comeback was the largest comeback win for Texas since 2007. Now, let me point this out, Desmond. They came back in 2007. You know what happened the year later? Texas Tech, Michael Crabtree.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I remember that. Yep.
So, see, things
could be
on the horizon. TJ Vasher, my God, what a catch in the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm. Hey, George, we've been talking about this man. Hey, and Keyshawn Carter's looking nice. And then Eric Ezekunma. That's a trio receiver core right there.
There's a reason why Alan Bowman's going to be the passing leader, because he's got all these guys he can just throw to. I'm not denying. I'm not disagreeing with you, Desmond. I'm agreeing.
Hey, and I just want to say the running game's getting a little bit better. It was struggled there in the fourth and overtime, but Sir Thompson is tied for first in touchdowns in the Big 12, and he's our running back.
Right. And I think one thing I do want to hit is that this is a much different team than we saw
first, but even last year.
Exactly. Against last year or against HBU, however you want to say it, it was a much better team. Or, not necessarily better,
but – could be the jitters. Could be jitters of first game.
Right. And we'll get to that actually with A&M in a second. Mm-hmm. But, Kansas State is up next for Texas Tech. Kansas State kind of has seen the ups and the downs in the 2020 season. Downs, they lost to an Arkansas State team that was without like 9 players on COVID due to COVID. Then they go on the road, or they go on the road to Norman, Oklahoma, and they upset the Sooners while they have like 6 people in their secondary that can't play because of COVID. So they're up and down. You're either going to get, the Kansas State team that doesn't know how to really control the clock and win the game in the end, or you're going to get the Kansas State team that absolutely knows how to come back. They were down by 21 and they came back and beat Oklahoma. So What's your, for me, I think Kansas State is going to be just not enough for Texas Tech. I think Texas Tech is going to be itching and scratching for a win. I mean, after when you go to overtime, when you had that big of a lead, I did see it. You had to laugh at this, Desmond. I saw that Alan Bowman scored to make it a 15-point game.
He
Did the horns down.
I saw
and
that
people
too.
were like 2 minutes later.
One of my I don't know if Hannah Gill, remember she
yes.
posted on her, it was like the SpongeBob a few moments later. It was like him like with this. I love he laughed. I was like that. All right.
Yeah, so maybe they did it to themselves, self-inflicted wound, right? But regardless, I think this is going to be a Texas Tech team we need to keep watching. They've got a favorable few next games with Kansas State, Iowa State. They get their bye, and then West Virginia before they face an Oklahoma team that who knows what is going to be, what to expect. Desmond, is it unreasonable to say that Texas Tech's going to win, and they could have 3 straight wins to go 4-1 going to that Oklahoma game?
No, and I told you, George, I've been saying this. This is the year for Texas Tech to be a top 3 team in the Big 12, and especially since Iowa State's loss. No, they almost lost. Oklahoma lost. So that's already one, and we lost to Texas, which was a close game. But since Oklahoma's lost, we proved that we can compete with Texas. We can compete with Oklahoma maybe this year. And if we beat Oklahoma, we're looking at a 2 seed, maybe a 3 seed. I don't know how Baylor's looking. But if we want to be a top 3 or have a chance to go into the Big 12 championship, it's going to be this year.
Yeah, I mean, I think there is the chance. And Baylor has been looked pretty good in their opener. 48-13, I believe, was the final against Kansas. So, but it's Kansas.
Yeah. But it's
so what do you have?
The Big 12's looking a little scrambled right now.
Yeah, indeed, and we'll get to that in after we talk about the Texas A&M game. But Desmond, quickly, what's your prediction for the
40? I think it's they did beat Oklahoma. I'll give them credit for that. 47-34, Texas Tech.
Yeah, that's very similar to what I have. 45-38. I think it's gonna be a good one.
It's gonna be a shootout, Big 12 shootout.
2:30 kick from Manhattan, Kansas on FS1. You can watch that one on Saturday. Should be a good one to rival the A&M Alabama game, which is coming up. Same time slot on CBS. But first, let's take a step back. A&M Vanderbilt. Okay, I want to talk a few things. First off, number one, I think there's some misconceptions about this idea that Vanderbilt is the worst team in the SEC. Are we forgetting that Arkansas went winless last year? They went 0-8 in the SEC. Vanderbilt was 1-7. They may even been 2-6. Okay, so this conception that, Vanderbilt, we should just run over Vanderbilt because they're the best team or the worst team in the SEC is wrong. Secondly, yes, Kellen Mond didn't look great. He fumbled the ball 3 times. And there just wasn't really any offensive rhythm. Until we got to the fourth quarter, even the second half, I looked to my friends at halftime. I was in Kyle Field. Let me address that first off. Kyle Field, definitely A&M. If there's any A&M leadership listening to this podcast, it probably won't. But we need more social distancing in the student section. This was ridiculous. At the beginning of the game, there was 30 people in one row. This was my row. There's 30 people in the row, which is normal, which is ridiculous. If you're saying that you're putting us in pods or little with spaces between, there should be spaces between. Don't lie to us and say, we're trying to just fit more people in the stadium. There's a 25% capacity. Live up to that. What?
I said for a reason.
Exactly. So, and there was not many people wearing a mask. There were people that were wearing masks, but people would take them off and then just kind of go on with that. And they said that they were supposed to be enforcing it. Yeah, they did just as much as saying, like, oh, you need to put it on. Okay. And then once they walk away, they take it off. It's like, no, that's not enforcing it. What were you going to say?
I would say, which is the whole thing I said about NFL games. I don't know if it was probably off air, but I was talking to my dad about it. And, he was saying they're allowing fans back in as long as they're wearing a mask. I'm like, how long is that going to last?
Right.
I don't blame them either. It's hot out there. I'm trying to yell and scream. You can't hear me through the mask.
Now,
But that's just what precautions, man.
I will say it was pretty loud at Kyle Field. For Kyle Field,
I mean, it is Kyle Field though. So.
correct. But what I'm saying is, even with people wearing masks, which, by the way, I won't say that there wasn't anybody not wearing a mask. Most people,
No.
I'd say about probably 75, 80% of the students. There were a lot of
Love
students.
you if you did wear a mask. We love you.
Yes, please. Yeah. If you did wear a mask, thank you. And I did too. I had a neck gaiter, so it's not quite as, hot and stuffy as like a regular mask.
Mm-hmm.
It still is a mask. And it was exciting. It was loud. It was nice to be back in Kyle. There was some sort of normalcy again. Again, also though, it was the worst 60 minutes of football I've ever seen on Kyle Field. It just was. It didn't. You walk out and you felt like it was a loss. You're like, what? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, 1-0 is 1-0. A win is a win. I'm not going to deny that. It's one more win than we probably would have. You know what I mean? Like, it's still.
I just want to say, George, now you know how it feels like almost losing to HBU.
Okay, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. But when your special teams punt returner gets a blindside block in the end zone and they say, "Oh, it's a safety," and you have to explain to the people around you why it's a safety. Anyway, back to the main discussion. We didn't see Demon Demas or Moose Muhammad, both freshman receivers that we should have seen, especially Demas. 5-star recruit. Supposedly Jimbo says he's going to show him in Bama, but there was talks that maybe they didn't want to show him in the game because they did in the Vanderbilt game because they didn't want Bama to get too much film on him. Again, this receiving core is young, but they look good. There's a guy, our tight end, Chapman. I can't remember his first name. I didn't write it down, unfortunately. Caleb Chapman. That's it. Caleb Chapman. Fantastic game for a tight end. We, kind of had to fill the void because Baylor Cup got hurt again. He tore his ACL or his Achilles last year or ACL last year. Now he's torn his shoulder or some knee maybe. I can't remember. He had 2 basically season-ending injuries in fall camp both years in a row. So he hasn't been able to play at all, which is ridiculous. But regardless, I think there was a lot of uncertainty too along how the offense was going to produce. But once we got going, once we got the run game kind of moving, Isaiah Spiller, he had 8 carries for 115 yards. 14 yards per carry is what the average. His first carry of the second half, 57-yard carry. Run the ball, Jimbo. If you run the ball and you get in the rhythm, first off, that's how you're going to beat Alabama. If you've watched Alabama football in the last 5 years, the one thing they struggle with is a pretty decent running back. They can't stop it. Go look at Travion Williams had like 100 and some odd yards against Alabama last year and the year before that on the road. There's potential. The A&M pass rush and the pass defense. Good. If we're going to talk about something solid, the defense might alone be able to stop Alabama and Mac Jones. Dare I say it that could happen. And here's why. Leon O'Neal. Desmond, I don't know if you're familiar with Leon O'Neal on Twitter. He's the one that wake him up 9. Wake him up is what he says. Wake him up. We got to wake him up. Get in the spirit, wake him up. Well, wake him up, Mr. Leon O'Neal. You played. You can defend your trash talk because you had 2 interceptions, multiple pass breakups, and played very good coverage. So kudos to you. Or 1 interception, I believe. 1 interception, not 2. But as a defense, there was 2. So Leon, wake him up next week in Tuscaloosa, and we might be seeing a trend here. But obviously everything needs to get better. I'm not too unhappy though. I know there were a lot of fans that are saying Mon needs to get replaced and he's not the answer for this A&M program. First off, you were saying that last year, same situation. Even when he had 300 passing yards, you were saying the same thing. First off, give him time. He had the best fall camp of his career, according to Jimbo. Really, if you get rid of the fumbles and a few bad throws, Kellen was on target. He had almost 200 passing yards. He had a touchdown. He had good throws. A lot of times it was due to the receivers dropping the ball. He put it where he needed to, and they were dropping it because they're young. Chase Lane had three pass drops that were right to his chest, right where you're told to throw the ball, and he dropped them. And people were blaming Kellen. Don't blame Kellen for that. Kellen can only throw a ball where he, so much to where it's perfect go blame the receivers. So I think there's a lot, I think Kellen Mond, give him time, give him a chance. He's got a big 3-game stretch here that's going to define his career for sure. Bama, Florida, Mississippi State, because Mississippi State we've seen is going to be an offensive team. As long as you can compete with them offensively, you're going to probably have a chance to win the game. Same thing with Florida. Go look at Kyle Trask had 6 touchdowns against Ole Miss, and their defense was trash. Their defense was straight up trash. They allowed 35 points in a game that shouldn't have even been that close. It was a 16-point game. Come on. 80 the total in that game, Desmond, by the way, that Florida game, it was 51-35. That's 86 points. I believe the line was set at 60 something and it was the over. That's not typical SEC. That's something you see in the Big 12.
Big 12, yeah. I'll say Big 12 shootout.
Exactly. So I think there will be really this is a defining stretch of the schedule for Kellen, because if he can get through this, he can get through the rest of the schedule. Arkansas, easy. South Carolina, easy. Tennessee, easy. Ole Miss, easy. LSU, at this point, easy. But, again, that LSU is going to regroup and refocus, because what we saw last week, or on Saturday, that's not the LSU from last year. This is a whole new LSU team that has problems on the back end, has problems in the run game, has problems even with Miles Brennan in the passing game. I don't know if you saw that, Desmond, but there were some passes that he should have made, and clearly just not Kellen Mond bad, but to the point that he was going deep and his receivers should have been there to catch it, and he wasn't even putting it close. There was an interception that in the third quarter. Where was he even throwing to? They said, miscommunication. You should be paying attention to where your receivers are and at least adjust. And yes, it did get hit or whatever at the line of scrimmage, but that's just mistakes that you don't make, especially as a quarterback that you were under Joe Burrow, a guy who was putting up 5,000 passing yards. And my dislike with Joe Burrow. I've said it so many times, Joe Burrow being an NFL bust, Joe Burrow probably not, there's lots of things with Joe Burrow going from a 2018 season where he was kind of, he was okay, but he wasn't great, to a 2019 season where he just absolutely was hitting every single college football record. That doesn't happen just because of a change in a coordinator. There's something else there that I don't know. It's just kind of confusing. But back to the game this week. A&M Alabama should be a good one. Top 15 matchup in Tuscaloosa. Like I said, I think the A&M defense can hold Alabama. I don't think it's going to be enough. I'd be shocked. I'd be really happy if A&M can get it done, but I don't think it's going to be enough. I've got the Crimson Tide winning, but this will be a game that I feel like gets morale back on track for this Aggie squad, that going into Florida on the 10th of October, you kind of have a feeling like, okay, we're back where we need to be. We can compete in the SEC. It's not like, we're now getting doubted because we only beat Vanderbilt by 5 points. So I've got the Alabama Crimson Tide beating A&M 34-24. So pretty close, actually, in my opinion. Desmond?
Yeah, I have Alabama winning this 30-17. But if A&M beat Alabama, that'd shake up the league a lot.
Oh, it would. It would. And I think part of it would also kind of be like the passing of the torch, if you will, because Mac Jones is good. I'm not going to deny it. But what I saw at the end of that Missouri-Bama game, I did not like from Alabama. And obviously you can argue Alabama probably had
third strings.
Had second or third strings in, right.
Yeah.
But, again, Missouri did something that Alabama has been known to do. They avoided the pass rush and were able to move down the field. If you can do it against the Alabama backups, that's bad, because it means that whatever the backups are doing is what is being taught in practice. It's not just, if the starters can do it fine, don't rely on the backups. And Missouri scored no time left on the clock, so you can argue that game was 38-13, not 38-19 like it ended up being. But, again, there was potential in that Missouri game that made me think that there is a chance that A&M can compete. Again, CBS SEC Game of the Week, 2:30 from Tuscaloosa in Bryant-Denny Stadium. And A&M is a 17-point underdog. So Desmond, I believe you hit it right on the money. No, we both believe it's going to be that A&M will cover. You say by 13, I say by 10. So we're going to take a look back at this week in college football that it was, and then we're going to go through the rest as quickly as possible. Desmond, I asked for your 5 takeaways that you thought were the biggest this week in college football. Just briefly, give me your top 5. Your 5. What did you see?
Briefly, all right. Clemson number 1, no surprise.
Absolutely.
Big 12 kind of struggling a little bit. First ranked team isn't until number 9, usually they're in top 5.
Right.
And that's Texas, who almost lost. Penn State's ranked on top 10, even though they haven't played. Wanted your opinion about that.
Oh, yes.
Miami, Derek King on a roll. Jose, the kicker, better than Dicker, the kicker from Texas, hitting 50-yarders out here.
The U.
Miami's looking good. The
U.
Last thing was Pittsburgh is ranked 24th. They are 3-0, beating Louisville and Syracuse. But who was it? Oh my gosh! But someone else was 1-1, and they were ranked way higher than them. I forgot who it was.
That was ranked 1-1.
They were 1-1. They were ranked higher than Pittsburgh, who's 3-0 after being Louisville and Syracuse, who are, not the best, but they're also not the worst teams to beat.
LSU's are 0-1. Oklahoma's 1-1.
Oklahoma. It was Oklahoma. Oklahoma is 1-1, and they're ranked way higher than Pittsburgh.
Oklahoma had their one loss was to Kansas State, and their one win is to Missouri State, and Pittsburgh's 3 wins are Louisville, Syracuse, and Austin.
Austin, yeah.
Which I don't know if they're necessarily better than the one loss. But, yeah, you can make an argument. I don't like the fact that the Big Ten and Pac-12 are allowed to be in the AP poll. I think that's ridiculous. They haven't played yet. Only rank the teams that are playing and then rank them as they come in.
Right, as they start playing.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. But for me, for my takeaways, I kind of was similar to you, Desmond. The Big 12, they are tumbling. Texas is really their only hope left. They need Texas to go undefeated if they really want to have Baylor, yeah, and maybe even Oklahoma if we get like a one-loss Big 12 somehow,
Maybe.
But I don't really foresee, Big 12's in trouble really. Miami has emerged as the top ACC contender. Sorry, Notre Dame, we love you, but Miami is definitely light years ahead of Notre Dame. And that matchup next week. I don't know if you're familiar, Desmond. Miami plays Clemson next week. Not this Saturday, the following.
Yeah, the following.
It's going to be a top 10 matchup.
That'll be a good game.
Indeed it will. BYU's offense is having a record year that will probably not be noticed. It's going to be unnoticed because I don't know if you noticed, but they have scored 55 against Navy and then 47 against Troy. Yeah. That offense is elite, and yeah, you could say Navy's not great, and it's.
I was going to say that's what I was thinking. I was like,
but let me tell you this, Desmond. Navy, they beat Tulane. You cannot deny that. Navy came back and beat Tulane. Troy absolutely dominated against Middle Tennessee. They've shown that they can score, and that BYU defense held them to 7 points. The BYU defense has allowed a combined 10 points in their first 2 games. BYU's having a season that, unfortunately, is not going to get them into the college football playoff, but certainly is going to be something to talk about. My 4th takeaway, Mississippi State's air raid should not be taken lightly in the SEC. It's finally showing that the air raid can work in the Southeastern Conference. After all these Southeastern Conference teams run the spread and run more running-based offenses and this and that and time of possession, no, it shows you that the passing game can work if you have a solid passing game. Mike Leach is the
and that's what he did at Tech.
Exactly. He did it at Tech. He showed he did it at Washington State. He just wasn't getting credit because it was in the Pac-12, and now he's doing it at Mississippi State. Watch out. I'm scared for that Mississippi State A&M game because unless A&M's unless A&M's offense can get on the right track, they're just going to go touchdown, 75 yards every time because we're just going to get burned on the back end. And then the 5th thing is the UCF is the group of 5 team to beat. They are by far and away the best team. I'll even say they're better than my Marshall herd. They've only played 1 or 2 games. Marshall's only played 2 games, so we haven't had a chance to see them consistently. But UCF has come out every single time in these 2 games that they've played. But my goodness. Okay. Of course, big games this week. Auburn, Georgia, top 10. Game day is going to be their Deep South's oldest rivalry is what they call it. It's between the Hedges and Athens, Georgia. We'll talk about it in a moment. North Carolina, Boston College. Interesting undefeated ACC matchup. Of course, A&M, Alabama, top 15. And then, of course, Oklahoma, Iowa State. We're not picking that one, Desmond, in our games of the week. Part of it's just because I couldn't fit it in there, but could be an interesting matchup on Saturday Night Football between the Sooners and the Cyclones. Okay, for all you out there, we're going to get to our pro sports update. We're going to pick the postseason picks that we have for the MLB as they start up. They actually started yesterday, but everything kicks into full swing today. All right, Desmond. To do this the quickest, we're just going to kind of go from the AL. We're just going to kind of just go through it. For me, honestly, I feel like people really only want to know about who's going to be the final 4 teams. So the 2 teams, the ALCS and NLCS. For me, I have the Rays and White Sox in the ALCS, and you might think, George, what about the Astros? What about the Twins? What about these teams or the A's? These guys that are top-ranked teams in the American League. I have the Astros beating the Twins in this first round, but losing to the White Sox, and then I have the Rays just absolutely dominating the whole way. Tampa Bay. We saw the Lightning beat my Dallas Stars in the Stanley Cup. Tampa Bay, Hunter, or Desmond, I called you Hunter. I am so sorry. This is what happens when you live with Hunter as a roommate for a while. We love you, Hunter. Shout out to you. But Desmond, this is the Tampa Bay Rays. There might be a chance that the city of Tampa Bay could get a sports trifecta. NHL, the MLB, and the NFL. And the Rays could be pretty close to do it. They are definitely far and away the best team in the American League. So we'll see. Who you got in your ALCS in your final American League matchup?
It kills me to say these 2 teams, Astros and Yankees.
Oh, why? Desmond, why?
You don't know how much it kills me being a Red Sox fan saying that. Astros being the other team to cheat, like the Red Sox. Yankees being the rival.
Nobody likes that rivalry. Can I be honest? Not the Red Sox Yankees. The Yankees Astros. This idea that a rivalry's been formed.
I don't think there's a rivalry. I just think that they're the 2 best teams right now. Not right now, but I just think they're gonna win.
I'll agree with you. Garrett Cole's.
I think the Astros. I feel like I have them winning that series.
Oh,
one of the reasons why is I think they play extra hard because if they lose, you know what the
they're gonna get blown on.
You don't have to get out the trash cans out there, man. That's why they lost.
Bang 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 bang. So bang. Like, yeah, they're gonna get blown on social media. So
they're gonna play extra hard.
Exactly. And then the Yankees are gonna.
And also, I am from Houston, so I mean, there is a part of me that.
See, I don't even.
I want to go to a parade. I want to go to a parade or a social distance parade. You know what I'm talking about?
I don't think about that. Rangers all the way. The Astros can go. They can go.
Hey man, the Red Sox aren't in, but I have Astros going all the way. Then I have
Yeah, go to the National League.
Cubs. What?
Go to the National League. Go ahead.
Oh, I have the My apologies. I have the Dodgers going all the way. I think it's gonna be the Dodgers and the Astros.
So a rematch.
So
a rematch of 2017.
Yeah, rematch, and Astros winning in 6.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. On the National League side, speaking of Hunter, I don't think he'd let me live in this house anymore if I didn't.
And that's our Dodgers and Cubs.
Okay. I feel like he wouldn't let me live in this house unless I didn't pick, the Dodgers. So I'm picking the Dodgers to win their opening series. But that sets up for a Padres-Dodgers showdown. And I've told Hunter this, and Hunter has said, I'm scared of the Padres. Well, Hunter, you're going to be listening to this. You should be scared of the Padres because I have the Padres going all the way to the World Series. Padres and Braves is my prediction for the NLCS. I have the Padres winning that, which means I have the Rays and the Padres in the World Series. And Desmond, I have the Padres winning the whole thing. Something about this team there's enough vibes with Fernando Tatis Jr. There's good pitching. They just have the makings of a World Series team. So I don't know. I think Padres in 6 is what I'm going with. But yeah, it could be really, really interesting. Who did you say you had the Astros? Astros Dodgers, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Before we go, George, real quick, I want your how many games, who's going to win Heat Lakers?
Oh, yes, we kind of skipped over that. Okay, so first off, I called this series about 2 weeks ago. You remember me saying it. I said Lakers and Heat were going to make it to the finals because I said that the Clippers were going to get beat by the Lakers and the Heat were going to find a way to beat the Celtics.
No, I think you do. I think remember I was like, oh, Heat aren't that good.
Right.
Yeah.
So I need credit for that. But I also think this is going to be a very competitive series. I think this series has the potential to be 5, 6, maybe even 7-game series. I don't believe that there will be enough firepower for the Heat. I think maybe LeBron and the Lakers are going to sleep on the Heat a little bit, early on, but they'll find a way to get it done. I had the Lakers in 6 is what LeBron wins his, what is that, 4th?
Well, Lakers in 5. And I actually don't think Lakers will sleep on them because LeBron knows Eric Spoelstra, and he's played with the Heat, and he's been here many times before in the finals. So I don't think he sleeps on any team. And this is Kobe's revenge year. This is LeBron's year to earn another ring, to chase Jordan. Man's going to destroy. Anthony Davis wants that first ring. Dwight Howard wants that first ring. JaVale McGee's been, they're going to go insane. Rondo. They have so many veterans, bro. J.R. Smith. I got 4-1 Lakers. Unfortunately, I think a lot of people are bandwagons with the Lakers and everything, but there'll be even more next year. Lakers are going to win this one.
No, I think the Lakers – how many rings this would be 4 for LeBron, right? Or would it be 5?
There'll be 4.
Because he won 3 in Miami, 1 in Cleveland.
No, yeah, he won
3
he
in
won
Miami.
2. Yeah.
He won 3 in Miami.
No, he didn't. He won 2. I'm tired, bro.
So, wait. This would be his 4th ring then? Or his 5th?
Yeah, what is that? Oh my gosh, bro!
I'm so confused.
I'm mad because I should.
No, this is 3 because he's 3 and 6 in the finals.
Yeah, I was gonna say
that's right.
He went back to back. He went back to back to Miami, then lost to like the Spurs or somebody.
To the Mavericks. The Mavericks.
Yeah, he lost to Mavericks, but he also lost to the Spurs one year because
that's right.
Didn't he go 3 years in a row? And then he went to Cavs and the Warriors Cavs. Yeah, this should be his.
This is
his 4th. This will be his 4th because I think he's 3.
He's 3 and 6.
Yeah.
He's 3 and 6 because this is his 10th finals. This is his 10th finals appearance because he's like the 6th player to ever do.
When you said 3 and 6, I thought you meant 3 out of 6. I was like, no, he's 3 and 9.
No,
3 out of 9. Yeah.
No, he's 3 and 6. Is his record?
3 and 6. 3 wins, 6 losses. Yeah. You had me tripping there for a second. I was like, did he win? I was like, nah. I could have sworn you're good.
Okay, so we both have the Lakers, and you have Lakers in 5. I have the Lakers in 6, and it should be a good one. Starts tonight. If I can get this out, if I can get this episode out, if you're listening to us on Wednesday, it starts tonight. If you listen to this on Thursday, it started yesterday, but that's beyond the point. All right, we're gonna get into our matchups of the week. And Desmond, I hate to inform you, but our combined upset pick last week failed to get the job done. Army.
That's even worse because that's my small school.
Yeah, Army continues to lose on the road. That's they still can't beat a top 25 team on the road, and it's their 5th consecutive road loss. Oh well, I'm 3 and 1. You're 2 and 2 on the upset watch. So time to get back on the right side of things. And we start first with a game in the Conference USA, UTSA and UAB in Legion Field. Should be a good one. UAB has a 19-game home winning streak in Legion Field. They have not lost since the UAB football program has returned. So they're essentially unbeatable there. But UTSA is trying to become the first 4-0 team in college football. Desmond, it should be a good one. But I can't root against a team that is celebrating Children's Hospital and cancer. Like they're having their name, they're having childhood cancer patients on names on the backs of UAB jerseys, and that's who they're playing for. Not the team on the front, but the name on the back. I got to go with UAB. That's too good of a story.
How could you go? How could you not go for them, George?
Exactly.
I feel like if I was the other team, I'd be upset just to beat that team.
That's awful, Desmond. So who you got? UAB?
UAB 20-10.
Yeah, I have them I actually have it closer, 38-37, 1 point. It's going to be
Not bad.
Game-winning field goal. All right, we're going to speed through these speed round. Auburn, Georgia, top 10 matchup, college game day. First time they're not at an ACC matchup. Again, we kind of talked about it. It's a rivalry game. Bulldogs struggled against Arkansas, and Auburn trailed for only 2 minutes against Kentucky. Bo Nix is good, and JT Daniels is supposedly starting for the Bulldogs. I'm taking Bo Nix, and if I had to be a betting man, I'd put my money down on the Auburn Tigers. 38-27, they win this chapter in the rivalry.
Agreed. Big guy Gus told him that the running game has never looked better. He said they're just getting warmed up. I have Auburn winning this game. What? They're going to upset 24-17. This is my upset pick of the week, George.
Good pick. Should be a good one. We both have Auburn, but you'll have to wait for my upset pick. I just think that Georgia shouldn't be that high ranked. It's not even shouldn't be worth it. 6.5 point favorite for the Bulldogs from Athens in a primetime matchup on ESPN. All right, Baylor, West Virginia, Big 12. Baylor started off really strong. West Virginia kind of struggled last week against Oklahoma State, but Chuba Hubbard, there's a reason why Chuba Hubbard is Chuba Hubbard. Yeah. Big win for Baylor to get back on, to start the season and forget about all the postponements that did happen. I think Baylor keeps going. I like this Baylor team. I have them winning 42-34 on the road in Morgantown. Desmond?
Agreed. Big 12 shutout, of course. I got a Baylor 52, West Virginia 38.
Good grief. Talk about points being
thrown out. It's Big 12, man.
Points being thrown out like it's candy.
I saw this one TikTok. I know I got to mention one TikTok, but this girl was sitting in front of the screen, and she was like, "You think you could hurt my feelings? My dad is defensive coordinator for the Big 12."
Oh, that's classic. Oh, that's classic. Oh, that's good. That's good. Oh, that's good.
That was a good one.
Oh, that's good. Oh, that's really good. My apologies to headphone users. You might hear a big bang when I'm clapping, but oh my goodness, that's classic. That's classic. All right, let's keep going. TCU, Texas. Classic rivalry. This one's on Fox on 11 a.m. from Austin. Big noon kickoff game. I picked, Desmond, if you don't recall, I picked TCU to upset Texas last year, and I hit it right on the head. I think I almost got the score like perfect. This year, not so much. Sam Ehlinger showed me last week that don't count out the Longhorns at any point. And they continue their rivalry-filled start to the season with Texas Tech, TCU, Oklahoma, and Baylor all back-to-back to start their Big 12 slate. So they win. They don't need to come back, though, this week. They'll win handily, 42-27. Desmond?
Agreed, George. Sam Ehlinger is still a great quarterback. Still, I think he's second or third in passing yards right now in the Big 12. Big 12 shutout, of course. Always going to say that. 40-24, Texas is going to win this game.
Lots of points being thrown on the board in these Big 12 matchups. Guarantee that Oklahoma-Iowa State game, too, that we are not picking is going to be a Big 12 shootout as well.
Big 12 shutout.
Yeah.
Shootout.
Not shutout. Shootout, Desmond. Shutout would be –
never a shutout.
Yeah, no, never a shutout. Never a shutout. Poor defensive coordinator. Never a shutout in the Big 12. Well, there might be a shutout in this next matchup between Memphis and SMU. If you remember, Desmond, last year they went to Memphis. Game day went to Memphis to showcase the American Conference in a week that we called the Power of the American. And we're talking all about it, and it was quite a show in prime time for Memphis to upset SMU, who was ranked at the time. I'm going to go a little bit slower on this one. Memphis has faced COVID-19 issues. They've made their game against Houston be postponed. They haven't played since the first week of September. Desmond, you know me. I like to go back into the history books and go and look at records and top 25 and this and that. And so far, minus last week, pretty good for me. I got to go back to the basics. SMU's last top 25 win, number 25 TCU last year. And you know what Memphis is ranked this year? Number 25. The similarities, good enough for me. I'm taking the upset in Dallas, 44-38. Go Ponies. Giddy up.
I remember they were. Oh my gosh, I think it was like 2 or 3 years ago. SMU beat Houston when they were ranked.
20.
I was at that game.
It was 20. They beat them actually twice, 2018 and 2016, both times in Dallas.
I think it was 2016, maybe. I was there at that game. I'm feeling good. SMU is going to win this game, 17-7. SMU is 3-0. They came off a 57 win last week. I know it was against nobody, but 50-7.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not giddy up. It's pony up, right? Is that what they say? Pony up?
That's what I said.
Okay. No, I said giddy up after my answer. I knew it was definitely wrong. No, pony up as a 3-point underdog in a 2:30 matchup on ESPN2. Man, all these good games are going to be at 2:30. How am I going to watch A&M, Alabama, Texas Tech, Kansas State, Memphis, SMU?
You're gonna have to have your phone.
Oh, I'm gonna be switching through the channels like I'm
They need that. They need that like the NFL red zone, but like college football red zone.
They used to have one called Goal Line, but then that disappeared. I don't know, but yeah, I'm gonna be switching through the channels like I'm a superhero or something. Boom, 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 boom. Like, I'm just gonna have my finger constantly on the remote, just clicking, click, 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 click. All right, let's get through these last two. Just quick picks: Missouri, Tennessee. Big Orange, Rocky Top. Tennessee. I like what I saw from Missouri. Not enough. Tennessee wins 34-21. Desmond.
Tennessee's going to win this one 24-10.
Okay. Desmond, I believe our picks are going to be pretty much the same if it comes down to this last one.
If you really look at the teams this week, there really besides the Auburn Georgia game, which really all the other games are pretty set. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no big surprises.
No, agreed. In this one, North Carolina, Boston College, there could be a big surprise. The last time that North Carolina beat a ACC team while being favored 14 on the road was 2003. That doesn't bode well, but I think Sam Howell and Mac Brown, head coach, they have this team in the right direction. It's been a long time since they've been back on the field. Boston College has looked really surprising, 2-0. But I got to take Carolina Blue and the Tar Heels. Jump on that bandwagon as soon as you can because it's might be competing with Miami and Notre Dame for some ACC supremacy. 34-27 UNC. Desmond?
I agree. Again, this is one of those games. UNC is going to win this one 38-17.
Yeah, it should be – it might be.
Hey, I won't jump on that bandwagon, George. I'm already on that Miami bandwagon.
Yeah, I don't know. The U are coming out strong with Derek.
Good, George. They got a kicker, okay running game. They got a quarterback, Derek King. I saw this one video where he was perfectly reading all his options: first option, second option, third option, pass. But he can also run. He's got the IQ of a pocket passer, and he can run.
The dude's going to be a starting quarterback in the NFL.
Deadly.
He could replace Sam Darnold in a mere second. I mean,
he needs to replace Trubisky, man. Sold me on my fantasy league this week.
Hey, Nick Foles is the future of Chicago. Speaking of the future, let's go back for a sec. Let's go back to the future. Let's go back to last week. We would be telling you that we should be better against the spread in our scary good game, but Georgia State and Charlotte had some COVID tests that were read incorrectly and therefore postponed the game, but then reread that said, we could have actually played the game because they were negative. Who knows? That's why it's our scary good game, because you never know how scary it can really get. This week, we go to the Conference USA again, or we go to a Conference USA for a full conference matchup between the Southern Miss Golden Eagles and the North Texas Mean Green. North Texas is a 1.5-point favorite, and Desmond, I don't know if you've been watching this Southern Miss team, but they're bad. They're bad.
I was 1.5 for North Texas, man.
Yeah, no, 66-24 against Tulane. Southern Miss lost. They allowed 66 points last week. You know what this North Texas offense is going to do to that Southern Miss defense? This isn't even going to be 1.5. It should be more like 150, maybe 15, maybe move that decimal point. somewhere else because that's 1.5 is generous on Southern Miss. I
It,
got
it, was, it was a typo, George.
yeah, the odds makers were like, I'm gonna put the decimal right here. Oh wait, that was supposed to be 15. Never mind. This is a free money matchup. Keep it at 1.5. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I've got North Texas to cover. Not it might even be 30.
Come on, George.
Yeah. What do you got? UNT to cover?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
1.5 to Southern Miss.
Okay. If I raised the spread, just
To what?
if I raised it to UNT by 20, would you?
Oh, I want to say cover now.
Okay. So we do think it's going to be somewhat close, but
20 is a lot.
yeah, 20 is a lot. 20 is a lot of points. Now, what if I said 15? Just move the decimal. UNT by 15. Would you? That's basically two touchdowns. Keep in mind,
I think it'll be like a 12. I mean, there's a reason why they kept it 1.5.
Yeah, no, they're legitimate. Yeah, I mean, keep in mind the last time these two teams played in Denton. Remember I was there because that was when I was on the North Texas small school train, and it was a 30-7 win for North Texas. So, either way, we both have UNT to cover. Army, as Desmond said, lost to Cincinnati last week. Desmond, who do they play this week? I believe it's
They play Abilene Christian.
So a win.
A win.
We're both like, yeah, a win. And my Marshall Thundering Herd should have right on time for my shirt to come in. My Marshall Thundering Herd shirt to come in for next week as they face off.
Marshall.
Bum, 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 bum. No, I don't. As they play Western Kentucky on the road next week. So one more week to kind of loosen up those thumbs and those arms, and be excited for small school. And we're gonna sign off right there for episode 5. So we will hopefully be tuned into our TVs for a good weekend of college football watching. And don't worry, you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at the 5Q Podcast, or you can email us to the Q5 Podcast. Again, we love comments. We love feedback. We want to hear from you. You want to hear from us. We give it to you every week. You can give it right back to us if you'd like. Again, you're watching this on YouTube. Subscribe. If you're listening anywhere you get your podcasts, also subscribe and give us a 5-star rating. We'd appreciate it. Signing off for the Fifth Quarter Podcast, I'm George Koff, and for my colleague, he's Desmond McLaughlin. And wear a mask. Please wear a mask. Gig 'em Aggies and Wreck 'em Tech. Adios.